Hey, Rusty Bob's YouTube channel. We are working on the PD's race car here. You can see in the background, that's the man himself. Not only does he operate the steering wheel, he also operates the WD-40 bottle. I'll flip it around here and show you what we got here. So we're working towards new body panels. We've got, I don't know, maybe a third of them all finished up, ready to get whatever's going to happen to them. Working on a front cover thing here. It's going to sit in there like that. Yeah, you can just barely see it. And we've upgraded from the old ratty steel panels like that one over there to the flashy new aluminum panels. And so yeah, this side is pretty much done. I've got the top to do yet, and the hood, the bonnet. Yeah, and then we also relocated the air intake here. It was on a kind of a different angle and a little bit further forward, so we're going to drop it back a little bit. So that scoop is going to up into there, and then the hood's going to come down. There'll be about a 2-inch gap between that scoop and the hood, which will ram the air into the intake. We got this flashy new little bracket here for the dirt stream to come in and out nice and easy. We got the 100-mile-an-hour zip ties holding this down. Those are the composite quick release straps. And PD's still waiting for his injectors there. So with Speedway season ending, they don't become a high priority. You can see we've got everything all taken apart, new bearings all around. These are those stands that I was working on a while back. I'll get you in on here and you can see them. So they work good. So those wheels, those casters, I got off of a set of car dollies. You know, those that you put under the wheel so you can move your car around in the shed easy. So to buy those casters at like Caster World or something, they're like $39 a piece. I bought a set of 2 car dollies on the interwebs for 40 bucks, and they came with 8 casters, so that was a good deal. This side we've got the cockpit panel done. So they all were one piece before, and so you had to take everything apart to get them off. Now we've split them. That's where the rear trailing arm comes up to there. So now we'll be able to slide that front panel out without taking the trailing arm off. I've got the panel to do that side, and like I said, the 2 top quarters and the bonnet. And then we're gonna somehow fashion some kind of a thing here. I'm gonna have to get a bit creative with this curve here. So a while back, I made up this as the front scoop, notched it out, just put a few rivets in to hold it in place so I could test fit it on the car, and it fits nice. It's a bit dished, and then the top here, this is the gap that the air will come into the air cleaner, so we'll put a little grate on there. I've got some of this here that we can help to keep some of the rocks or the mud out. So in mocking up on this aluminum plate, it's sometimes difficult to mark it out, and I don't have any dye to spray on and scratch off. But you do end up, when you're doing stuff, you always end up with part cans of rattle can paint, and no prep or nothing, because actually the less prep the better, because then it just wipes off with a bit of terps. And yeah, so you put your part on there, and then you see if I can do this holding the camera. You just spray it on the edge. It's increasingly difficult when you're staring through a camera. Just like that. Give it a moment. I just did this one about 2 minutes ago. And then you grab the corner and just whip it off, and then you have your outline. And that's bang on. Usually when you're using a pencil or a marker or something, you end up with this big, 1/8 inch thick line. And that line is exactly the edge of the cardboard. So that works real slick. And then, so I'm making up 2 more of those side pieces. I'm gonna actually cut it down so that it sits just underneath the bar. And then that's just to cover up, because this will be visible when you look in past the front wheel. And I'll show you that when we have it mocked up on the car. But so I just want to cover that up, make it a little bit smoother so that if you're reaching under there to work on sway bar or anything like that, you don't get caught on these edges. So what I'll do is I'll pre-drill through this so I know where all my rivets are going to be. Then I'll put this piece on there. I'll show you guys that in a bit. So once you've got your template sprayed onto your panel, this aluminum is real soft, real easy to cut on a table saw. So this is just a regular wood table saw with carbide tips, and it cuts it through that easier than it cuts through wood. In fact, it's a bit difficult to keep it from wandering, because obviously all the pieces aren't really square shapes or anything, so you can't use the fence. And the fence, typically the wood fence, the sheet's so thin it rides up underneath anyway. So I just freehand it on the table saw, and it's just a bit challenging to keep it from wandering, because it'll wander real quick because the aluminum's quite soft, but it cuts out pieces pretty quick. So these are the upper side panels, the bonnet. So I've got to get this top edge double folded, so folded once tight and then fold it again to a 90 so that it's quite strong, so that we can mount the Zeus's into there for the bonnet to sit down. And then these sheets weren't quite big enough, so I had tails drawn on there, but we're gonna have to kind of figure something else out. But right here is where the exhaust headers come out. The one thing to note when you're cutting this aluminum on the table saw is it is ridiculously loud. So you're going to want to make sure you got your PPE on. And these guys, I find that these are better. Sometimes I'll even put the earplugs in and then the muffs over top. But it works really good. You get chips all over your face. But yeah, so pro tip, wear your PPE. That one's for all of the moms out there. They're going to want their kids to wear the PPE too, right? So that's the old panel there with the new panels below it. So this one here, the old panel, we've still got to figure out some mounting Zeus's here, which are going to be on the frame, so we'll drill those after. So you can see a notch out here, which I've got. That's the hole there. That's a trailing link for the front suspension, and then that's that safety that we were talking about. This here we're going to cut out tonight. That's exhaust coming through there. This had to be like this because it was all one panel, and so it was really hard to get in and around everything over the exhaust, the way the exhaust is going. I'll show you. You'll have seen that on the car before, but now. And then we got 2 Zeus's here, which we know are located because we've got the piece coming up that high, and then notch out there. So if I pull this off, it shows the 2 panels that I've made. How now we won't have to take off the trailing link to get the access that we need, because these panels just slide apart like that. And I've got a relief in it so that the panels sit flush and you don't get crud building up in there. Then you can see these are the Zeus dimples that I've made. And yeah, so I've tightened it in with this ratchety wrench, which makes it real slick. And we'll pull this off here and we'll see what we got. Hopefully it's a little bit more centered than the last one. There you go. Worked pretty good. So I'll just touch off. There's a little bit of a burr on the bottom there. I'll just take that off with my deburring tool. Got 2 more holes, like I said, to make there, and kind of hog that out a little bit. And then these flappy discs work real good on this aluminum, and you just run those in your drill and they work pretty good. Or you can use a die grinder as well. I've got this piece cut out. I've got the notches in my template cut out. I still got to do this one here. That's actually for the steering bar. You use a strap to hold that in so that if it were to snap, it doesn't fly off into the crowd. I've got my Zeus holes drilled, and I got this, I sent away and got this ordered up. This is a dimple die specifically for Zeus fasteners so that they sit a little bit closer in. The nice thing about dimpling, I was just using the head of a carriage bolt before, and that worked pretty good, but this is actually specifically exactly the right diameter and everything. The nice thing about dimpling them is it makes it really rigid, because it's putting a little bit of a relief in the tin, in the sheet metal, but it also sets the sheet metal just off of the frame just slightly, and so it keeps it from rattling quite as much. This little setup's pretty slick. It's just got a bolt that runs through. Put that on the back side, and then the die with the convex on it, you want it on the top side of your plate so that it's on the right side of your, so the Zeus is sitting flush in. See if I can do this with one hand. So then you slide that over like that, center it up on your bolt like that. Move it over so you can see. So I got the hole on the bolt centered up. Drop that on, screw on the nut, and just tighten it down until it stops, and you're good. It's that easy. Well, finished up the last panel. I had to remake this one. This is the front right-hand side. So remade that one with this hood together. So took the sheet, did a kink for the top because a couple of Zeus's in there, and then this is going to come up to below the screen just to keep a little bit of the crap from going through there. And then put a little scoop on here, a little screen in the front, just to give it a little bit more air gap because it was pretty tight onto the air intake. Yeah, it came up pretty good. We'll fit it all tonight, and hopefully that'll be that. Yeah, pretty much done. Just finalizing the location of some of the Zeus's for the hood here. Boom, boom. There's a couple already in there across the top. To kind of customize this here so we keep some of the mud off the hands. Measured up this one panel here. We got a kind of a bend curve in there that we got to massage in. So that finish up this week. But otherwise all the panels are done. They're all designed to come off without having to remove a whole bunch of extra stuff. And really from here up is what you're gonna have to look at. This front scoop finally came together. We changed up that top edge there. It had the mesh before. Took that out and put in a solid panel with a bit of a curved back, and so that we got good airflow into the intake. And PD tested it out, and he's figuring that the sight lines are better than before, so that's good. This side here is all done. So once we got that last panel on, we'll stick it all together, drop it down on the wheels, and take a few pics for the see who's going to design some graphics for it. And yeah, we need a color. So hot pink is out, but text down below or comment below and see what you figure. So this video is a long time coming. We've kind of been 4, I guess, Monday nights that we've been kind of working on it. Obviously it's a bit more difficult when you template here and then take the panels back to my shop and work on them there and then bring them back and make some adjustments, but we're getting there. We're almost done. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you next time.